Back then, there was only Banyan Tree Hotel, Alamanda 1, not the other two Alamandas. There was a Sheraton, which is now Angsana, Dusit, and then at the time it was called Laguna Beach Club, which is now Sai. So those are the original 5 hotels. And apart from that, it was just, green. There was a giant supermarket, which is right where Bow Avenue is back then, and they used to have live music like every Friday. Honestly, it was unrecognizable how different it is. I remember there was an old English pub called the Whispering Cock, also in that area. Peppers has been around quite a while. I remember when Peppers was indoor, and now they made it all outdoor. Tatonka's been there since day one. In fact, my mom used to make the menus for the late Harold, who passed away recently, unfortunately. So we were probably one of the first customers of Tatonka.
Okay, we're back. We're here with Lindsay Renolds. We just saw that bit of an intro of what's going to be going on in the podcast. As we always do, this is about people's stories living in Phuket, living in Thailand. You've been here pretty much your whole life. Let us know, Lindsay, a little bit about who you are and what are you doing living in Thailand.
So my name's Lindsay Renolds. I've been coming to Thailand since 1996. During that spell, of course, I went to university in America. I was an avid golfer. I still am. I used to play professional golf for 10 years on the Asian tour, European tour. And now I've just started my own business, which is an indoor golf simulator business. So it's been exciting.
Were you going to high school out here originally, or were like British International School?
Yeah, so at the time, BIS, which is now British, was called Dulwich College. And before that, I went to a school called PINS, Phuket International School. And I remember taking the entrance exam to Dulwich at the time. At the time, they only had year 7 to year 12. And it was a big step for me. PINS was a small school, maybe 120 students. I was going to go to this big school, which looks like a castle. And then I got in I wasn't really like smart, so to speak. And I was quite young when I entered, but it was a game changer. Back then,
how old were you then? Entered?
Oh, I must have been. I would say I was about 11 or 12 years old at the time.
Oh, okay.
But back then we had Saturday school as well. So that was Saturday school, half days. You had to have the shirt tucked in. Everybody had to wear the same shoes. It was so strict. I don't think it's quite as strict now as it used to be, but back then it was. You had to have your hair combed. It was like really tough.
Where were you 10 years prior to, I guess, coming to Phuket?
I was in Singapore, Indonesia, Kenya. Yeah, my dad works in the oil business, so He was always traveling quite a bit. Before Phuket was Singapore.
And was Phuket kind of like his retirement last spot? And I mean, because you've been here since. You didn't really move on after that.
At the time we were living in Singapore, my father wanted something a bit more laid back. Phuket in 1996, as you can imagine, was pretty laid back. The Tepkasetri Road did not exist, so it was just those small back roads. In fact, my dad bought an apartment at Alamanda in Laguna, and we still have that apartment today. So obviously the growth over the years is just insane.
What have you seen in terms of the growth? And I guess let's just focus more on the whole Laguna area, because I came in 2016, and I'm starting to feel like an old timer. Like there was kind of Villa Market, and everything just blew up, and you don't really remember how it happened so fast. So what was the landscape of this whole Laguna area back then?
Well, I mean, back then there was only Banyan Tree Hotel, Alamanda 1, not the other two Alamandas. There was a Sheraton, which is now Angsana, Dusit, and then at the time it was called Laguna Beach Club, which is now Sai.
Was it an actual big hotel or just a beach club?
It was an actual big hotel, but it was kind of like a Club Med vibe. So those are the original 5 hotels, and apart from that, it was just green. There was a giant supermarket, which is right where Bow Avenue is back then, and they used to have live music like every Friday. Honestly, it was unrecognizable how different it is.
Yeah, and before Sai, I think it was Outrigger.
That's right.
I think that's a great hotel. Hey, hit us up, give us that sponsorship deal. I actually, when people come to visit, I recommend go to this hotel.
I agree.
Because you can kind of walk to Boat Avenue.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
No.
It's safe if you do want to go walk. There's sidewalks.
Exactly.
And you're on the beach, and you have all the food at the Bangtao.
Exactly.
I think it's one of the better hotels.
I agree, and you can even walk to Catch Beach Club.
You can, yeah.
From the beach there. In fact, that's what we do every New Year's. We go to Sai, and then we just walk to Catch because traffic is horrendous at New Year's.
I think you would have been too young to maybe indulge in this part of that world, but I mean some of the older bars back then would have been BB's and
yes.
Black Cat would
Black
have been
Cat,
the original.
yes, yes.
Can you recall? Were you going to lunches maybe with family back then?
I remember there was an old English pub called the Whispering Cock, which is also in that area. Peppers has been around quite a while. I remember when Peppers was indoor, and now they made it all outdoor.
Same location.
Same place, but it was just one unit. It wasn't 2 units.
The plaza, the Tinley Plaza wasn't there. It was only the Peppers building.
So there was Tatonka's been there since day one. In fact, my mom used to make the menus for the late Harold, who passed away recently, unfortunately. So we were probably one of the first customers of Tatonka. And I mean, Yen knows this too. She knows us since day one.
That's one of my go-tos, like a once-a-month place.
Yeah.
It's on the rotation.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's a hidden gem, but the problem is people don't know how to order there.
No.
You got to know how to order.
Exactly. You got to, I mean, I always go there. I always order the same things. And usually when I bring people for the first time to Phuket, I bring them there. I order everything for them. And I always start off with the tapas. You got to have all the tapas.
That's all
and
I
then
do.
Finger food. Everyone has their little bite. And
I like the little eggplant cheese.
The eggplant cookie is called, yeah.
The egg, and then I when Harold was there, I saw him pretty much a week or two before he passed away.
Yeah.
I used to get some of these mushroom things. They're not even on the menu.
He'd
be like, oh, how do you even know that still?
I know,
the mango cashew.
Mango cashews, yes, yeah.
All there, we usually just stick to the tapas there.
Yeah.
And I'm stuffed. Like it'll be me and my girlfriend, and also you have to know how to order. If
Absolutely.
it's just 2, you just say they'll do halves.
Yeah, exactly. They do. If you're 5 people, they'll build a menu based on 5 items. Like it's really good the way they do it.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to pick up Thai? Like were they pushing Thai lessons on you in school, it wasn't really a priority?
I don't know. I always feel like if you want to learn a language, you just have to sit yourself around people constantly. I mean, in school, I remember learning, like reading the Thai books that they gave us, which is what they would teach for Thai kids. But I mean, I still remember what I'm reading, but I've never used it, When I had a lot of Thai friends, I would hang out with them, and then of course I would learn more of the bad Thai, which is useful. But my Thai has never been. I've never been like language savvy. I mean, I'm married to a Russian now for coming up to 5 years, and even my Russian is poor. So
yeah, it's one of those things. Unless you use it, it's never.
Yeah, I mean, if you're around the people constantly, it's easier to pick up a language because you're forced to. Yeah. And I would say even in the last year, I probably picked up the most Thai because of this reason. You're around construction workers, staff, so you're kind of picking up little words here and there.
Yeah, I recently came across this Thai program. It was on Chris Parker's channel, Retired Working for You.
Yeah.
He had an assistant working for a crew Pha. They call it the 100-day Thai challenge. So I picked it up. I'm on like day 4 or 5 right now, but it's one of the better ones. Like I've tried.
I gotta try it out, yeah.
I've tried with like Pimsleur and Rosetta Stone and Duolingo,
Yeah.
and I've tried with tutors and teachers, but there's just no structure.
No,
it's like today we're learning the word balloon. It's like I don't even know the word "I" yet.
No.
Where are we going with this?
Exactly. Or like, how many times are you going to ask for a balloon? Like,
right. That's how. It's just an example I use. Like I speak Chinese, so I understand. And when I learned that, you need like a building block, a structure.
Yes, exactly.
So these guys are good, and at least it's all online and it's videos. So I'm on day 5. Chris was on the podcast. I'll probably actually just put a link in the description. This is not paid or anything. I've tried so many things here, especially in Thailand, and it gets so frustrating when you show up with these teachers will come to the house and they're like, "What do you want to learn today?" I'm like, "I don't know. Like, just tell me. Like, give me
something that gets you from A to B is usually like what I try to learn. I mean, I know how to ask if I need to go to the restroom, how much does something cost. What time do you open? Things like this, like everyday things that you would use, I already pick up quite well. Of course, I couldn't have a philosophical conversation with someone and I don't plan to.
Yep.
So that I think you're only going to develop when you're around people constantly.
Yeah, and it's Thai is a very tricky language, especially.
It is. Well, you know, one word can have 6 meanings.
And it's
complete different meanings.
You have to be perfect. It's not like Chinese, where actually in China and places like you said, you're in Shenzhen before the podcast, the people in China in that city are speaking a second language. So the Putonghua Mandarin is not their first language.
Yeah.
But in Thailand, it's everyone's first language.
Exactly.
So when you fuck up like one word, first they laugh at you, and two, they're like, yeah, we don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
And I get it.
Exactly.
Like, so it's pretty discouraging. Okay, let's jump back in, because I think you're going to get a lot of, especially the golfers watching this.
Yeah.
A lot of the old guys maybe at Peppers. I think this will get passed around a bit to give that nostalgic feeling to a podcast. Talk a little bit more about, let's walk us through Villa Market. Today walk us through Boat Avenue. Today we're seeing Villa Market, we're seeing your Teros, your Boccacinos, the Coffee Club, Burger King.
Yeah.
You're saying there was just this is before my time, there was just an old grocery store, not even Villa Market.
No, it was called Giant Supermarket, and I still remember the owner's name. His name was Santi at the time. And it was just like rustic, quite big though. Had everything, had pens, notepads, vegetables, all kinds of stuff. And then he had a restaurant right next to it, which me and my family would go to at least once a week. And then he decided to open a live rock band, and that was kind of like the end of that. Like, it kind of destroyed it a little bit, and I think he had to shut down.
So it was bringing the first nightlife.
Yeah. I mean, it was he just loved rock music. So from what I remember, he just wanted to play he had a rock band that he just wanted to, like a concert kind of thing.
Can you recall, and for me, I couldn't, if someone asked me this question, what has popped up, what was next? It just kind of happened so fast, you can't remember.
Yeah, so after that, I mean, there's probably a period or a window of like 2-3 years where I don't really remember what happened, like at that time. But then obviously they started building up this Boat Avenue concept, which the first couple of years was pretty quiet, and it was nothing like it was now. And then they kept building it up. Black Cat was always a place that we went to. Philippe from Black Cat.
Black Cat, here, so just push the mic a bit this way, only because the fan's grabbing it. That's okay. Black Cat, I was talking to some guys at the golf course about this as well, and they were saying that it was originally like in the Boat Avenue area, then it moved out to the main road? Or has it always been there?
No, I mean, from what I recall, I think it's always been where it was. And I remember Philippe, he used to have like pétanque tournaments and stuff. Yeah, I mean, our family was quite close to Philippe and his wife and his team there. So it was always another one of those places. We would always go to Black Cat. There was Giant Supermarket before all that. And then Tatonka. Those were kind of the 3 places that we would go to back then.
Was there like a point in time when something arrived at Boat Avenue where everyone's like, okay, now this thing, we're taking off? I mean, the Burger King came way later.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Burger King probably just was a recent addition, so to speak.
CM Supper Club? CM Supper Club?
CM Supper Club. So the original owner was an American guy called Eric. And he opened up this place, and then he sold it to another guy, a German, Peter.
Well, there was the other guy in there that...
There might have been another one that
alive? Do you know that?
I'm missing. But Eric was the original guy who built it from California. And that was probably the big hit back then, like, because it was like New York-style bar, like upmarket. That was like a special treat. And I remember they used to have such an unbelievable... I haven't been there recently, so I can't really compare what it is now compared to then. But I remember they used to have an unbelievable sick like cheesecake. And I used to always get that every single time. And again, it was like our family tradition, once a week kind of thing. We would go there.
Yeah, I've been eating. There's a new restaurant, La Marie.
La Marie, yes.
Man, I ordered it last night. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, for this area, because you get on Grab, and I'm like, I'm always eating unis or like
unis. My lunchtime tradition is unis. Yeah.
I can't. I just eat it every other day.
I've eaten everything on their menu.
Triple cheeseburger, phenomenal.
Yeah,
crushing this thing. So I'm like, I just can't. I needed a night off.
I think unis is the best burger on the island
for sure.
For me.
For sure, I get the triple and the burrito.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It is what it is.
But yeah, La Marie is awesome. Actually, they catered my my kind of expat event last week.
Oh,
they
really?
did an awesome job. The Russian. They also own Joya. So there's two of them.
Which one's Joya?
Joya's in Bow Avenue. It's you know where the Mexican is? It's kind of across the road near Infinity Bikini Shop.
Then it just opened.
Yeah, Joya and La Marie are the same owners, same chef.
Okay, the La Marie is phenomenal.
Very nice. Risotto is amazing there.
I got the risotto with the burrata.
Yeah, the burrata. Yeah.
And then I ordered the pomelo, the cantaloupe with the parma ham, and it came with like a ricotta cheese.
Yeah.
And I had the fry. I didn't realize how heavy it was, man. I had the cheesecake.
Yeah.
The passion fruit cheesecake.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
It was kind of a spite order because I know last night my girlfriend, like, she usually, we get all the groceries and she didn't get it. I'm like,
just
I wanted to eat healthy, so I'm like, I'm ordering her favorite food just so she can watch me eat this. It was so heavy that like we were sharing it. Man, it was phenomenal. And again, this is not an ad. I want to share that with people out there. It used to be Didos or something.
Didos was before,
and it was
correct.
too expensive. Didos for
Didos,
what it was.
So he was taught by a chef by the name of Paul Bocuse in France, and again Pablo, I knew him quite well back. I mean, but Didos has been around for a while.
Are they still there? No.
No. La Marie, I think took the Didos building.
Right. So that was the I went to Didos a few times. I'm like, I don't think there's value here.
Yeah.
And then. So that kept the taste in my mouth when I saw La Marie. I had the beaten housewife syndrome of Didos.
And La Marie, I mean, the interior looks amazing.
Yeah.
They did an awesome job. Like that bar concept, everything.
Yeah, and especially really it is it's a different taste brought to that whole area.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, I'm eating peppers, which is fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's pub food, you
yes.
know. Convenient if you want something quick, have a pint of beer. Same with O'Hara's.
I've been eating that with Norman twice a week.
So I mean, there's a lot of interesting little places popping up.
Yeah.
I can only imagine like just opening a restaurant must be so competitive and tough, and especially in this area.
Yeah, especially the low season.
I really admire how people do it.
I think the challenging part would be keeping experienced staff, because if you bring on 20 staff in the high season. I don't think they can all stay with you from the low. Then they turn over. Then you're rehiring and training. I think that's probably the challenge.
Finding staff in Phuket is tough. I learned kind of the hard way. But I mean, you know, because of the two seasons, the high season and the low season, this year we're experiencing more of a low season, I think, than previously. I think because a lot of people are going back home, which they haven't done for the last couple of years. But it's not to say that the high season is going to be packed. I think it's just going to keep getting more and more popular here.
Well, apparently a big part of it, it's like, the people are here, but a lot of the Russians that are living here now.
Yeah.
And actually, we're not experiencing as many flights. It's not coming in.
Exactly. And to be fair, like Russia, I've lived in Russia for like half a year, and the summertime in Russia is amazing. So I know why people go back.
And I think most Europeans go back as well.
Yeah, I mean, Europe and Russia this time of the year is nice weather. For me, it's too busy, especially Europe. I have a house in France, and this is the worst time for me to go back because it's hot. There's no air conditioning.
And you just escape the tourists, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I kind of, as much as I love a lot of business, I actually like Phuket this time of the year. And sometimes you're going to get a nice spell like we've had, in the last couple of days. The flooding we had was a bit of a freak event. But I think with that said, it's going to be a bit more common because there's so much developing going on and there's just nothing to hold the soil there. So, the drainage, all the drains are clogged. There's no vegetation to hold everything together. And there's just so much overdevelopment that it's...
I mean, you're coming up. You've almost been here 30 years. It's getting close. Have you ever seen weather like we had the other day?
I mean, as far as that quickly to flood, never in my life I've seen that.
Right.
There was a time a couple of years ago in October when there was a flooding, but it did rain for like 2 weeks nonstop.
That was 2 years ago with the landslides.
Yeah. So, I mean, it does happen. And I think it's just going to happen more and more as there's more developing. But, I mean, there's a demand for it here. People want to come to Phuket. People complain about the prices in Phuket, but, I mean, it's still, in my opinion, much cheaper than it is in Europe. Yes, it's expensive for Thailand, but, I mean, this is a paradise island, so to speak.
And there's still inflation globally. Actually, I don't think inflation hit that hard here anyways. You want to go buy chicken at super cheap.
Exactly.
It's still nothing.
No, I know. Exactly. I mean, I know a lot of local Thai restaurants that I go to. One actually nearby here called The Huck, which is chicken rice. Unbelievable. And you can get chicken rice for like 80 baht. And it's like really like Michelin Guide standard, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Phuket, it's expensive, but you can still, there's still Thai people living here on their salaries, so it's manageable. You just got to have a bit of willpower.
You can still buy your coconuts for 30 baht, 40 baht. Yeah. If you want to go to Catch, it's going to be 250, but that's what you're getting, right? You're buying the name. Touching
back upon the hot topic, let's say. Who knows, this podcast might come out 2 months later in the rainy, and this is airing in high season, but we saw 2 years ago, with the flooding, that was incredible, like insane. Last year wasn't that bad, actually.
No.
But this year it's starting early, going way back. So again, being here 30 years, was there any other similar flooding, like even the one 2 years ago?
Not that I can recall. I do know that from my past experience here, whenever we had a rainy season that was not as wet, the sunny season would be a lot more wet. So it's kind of one of those things where I find that this rainy season so far, we're already in July, I don't think we've had that much rain compared to the previous times, which if my theory is correct, it would mean that in the high season, we're probably going to have a lot more rain than usual. So it's kind of this, everything's shifting a little bit.
Yeah, I usually, because I'm golfing again like 5-6 days a week, I measure it in can I golf?
Yeah.
Meaning, if I can go out and golf and maybe I get stuck under a tree for 10 minutes, that's okay.
Yes.
But 2 years ago, you're talking there would be 2 weeks where you couldn't golf.
No,
it was shut down. And even last year, you get, and it's Phuket's crazy. People don't understand the weather here. No. You can be on the golf course and see the biggest cloud rolling through.
Yeah.
And just watch it like touch one hole and just
then,
roll out.
Exactly. And I mean, you could be on the back nine and the front nine's pouring.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, I think that's a good transition into, I mean, you're building the Golf Hub.
Yeah.
As in it's been built. You got 3 bays. Let's start at the beginning of Golf Hub.
Yeah.
Let us know, how did this idea even come together?
I still remember when I came up with it. I was in France. I was drunk, as all good ideas come. And I just decided, I spent a lot of time playing professional golf. And on contrary to what people believe, like, we get paid well if you play well, right? So only the small percentile of people actually like make a real living out of golf. The other people rely on sponsorships, etc. So most of my golfing career, I relied a lot on sponsorships, and I'm very grateful for it. But I came to a point where I'd rather try to make something on my own and fund myself, to make it. That way I don't have the pressure of, performing for people. So I came up with the idea of opening an indoor golf simulator. At the time, there was no indoor golf. Now all of a sudden they're popping up everywhere in Phuket, which is like, I guess I take it as a compliment that my idea kickstarted it. So I decided I was going to open one golf bay and then like a little retail shop by the name of G4, which is a brand that I really love. Kind of Los Angeles brand.
That's
pretty chic. Correct. Yeah. This is actually the hat made from G4, exclusive to our shop in Phuket.
Oh, I had yours. I was gonna put it on, but then I saw you have the white hat. I'm like, maybe it's too much.
Anyway, so I mean, I started like that, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, I'm blinking, and I've got 3 golf bays, 5 staff. It's definitely a lot bigger than I expected. But yeah, it's worth it. I love golf. I wanted to give people the opportunity to practice like the pros in the comfortable setting, like they're at home. And
I think that works well in Phuket, especially with the rainy season.
Absolutely, rainy, hot.
And to be honest, not just that, it's the heat here. The longer you live in Phuket, the more you don't go to the beach.
No,
and 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. you don't want to be outside. Those days when you first live here of, it's 10 a.m. I'm going to ride the bike around for 8 hours. It's unbearable.
You got to do that early in the morning or late in the afternoon. And usually in the afternoon, you're tired to do anything. So
that's why I've thought about it. I'm too busy with my stuff. I think a bowling alley would blow up.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Up here.
Yes.
They need a bowling alley. And that goes on the Golf Hub side. You need an indoor competitive activity.
Exactly.
Because what are our options in Thailand? Or sorry, in Phuket. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a rainy day or it's super hot.
Exactly.
Okay, I have like a couple options. I'm going to go to the beach and get drunk.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to go maybe, forget about, you cannot organize sports in Thailand. It's impossible. You can show up at a golf course and there's guys there.
Exactly.
Try to organize a volleyball game or a basketball game.
No, I know.
It's like herding cats. You get a group of guys. The problem is everyone's coming and going. So you get like one game once and then it all falls apart.
Exactly.
You need places where people just go. And I think that's how Golf Club, it's Golf Hub. Golf Hub has its value.
Yeah.
Again, it's a Saturday afternoon. I don't want to sit on the couch. Yeah. I can go to Golf Hub. Now you built 3 bays. I want to talk about the business side of it. We were discussing that at the beginning. Like any business, you budget at the beginning. What were your thoughts? What was going through that process? And finally, what are we looking at when we walk into Golf Hub?
Well, like I said, initially it was supposed to be one golf bay, a simple like shop. I was going to run it with, one staff member helping me. And then my idea just kind of expanded. And then I found a plot of land that was 650 square meters. And it was such a good deal at the time that I was like, you know what? Let's just do that. I'll have to build everything. That's fine. I got a team in Bangkok to build it for me. And then it just kind of escalated to 4 golf bays. Then I lowered it to 3 golf bays. And now I'm thinking in my head, like, maybe I'll add 2 more, It was just a journey, the whole process. I'm so happy I have it. It's a great addition. At first, it was going to be more for teaching. Now I'm trying to promote it more for like a leisure activity, make a golf league, indoor golf league, have events there, corporate outings. Like now it's kind of my ideas expanded a little bit more. I
think the league idea is smart because everyone, a lot of the people in Thailand is, especially this area, we got here because we're competitive.
Exactly.
I'll be in a coin flipping league if you build it.
No, I know.
And you go out with these guys, like I'll go play golf with a guy today. Like,
exactly.
We're friends, and then we're not even gambling.
No.
We're playing match play, but we fucking hate each other by the end.
Yeah,
and then right after we have a beer, this island is so competitive.
You need that.
Because of the entrepreneurship, the business mentality.
Exactly.
Here. You build a golf league, I think that would
and like I said, we have the TrackMan courses, we have over 250 courses worldwide to choose from. And these are legitimate courses. So, 1 week could be St. Andrews in Scotland, and then the next week would be in Pebble Beach, California. And then you'll be in Italy at Marco Simeone. So I will kind of set up a schedule where maybe 2 times a month, everyone comes to Golf Hub. They compete. There's going to be a league table. And then at the end of the year, maybe like the top 4 teams will compete it out in the final at Golf Hub with an event.
Have like a monthly medal.
Yeah. So it'll be kind of like the same concept. There'll be a trophy, prizes. We'll see.
And no sandbag or scorecards with handicaps.
No, it's going to be gross.
Yeah, that's the problem.
You don't need to putt, so everything's going to be kind of decided.
Okay.
So if you hit it to within 3 meters, it'll give you a 1 putt. If you hit it on the green to within 10 meters, it'll be an automatic 2 putt. Outside 20 meters would be an automatic 3 putt. It's just the rules are going to be so baseline simple.
Why do you take out the putt? Is the putting included now?
You can add putting, but putting when you're putting virtually is very hard because putting is all feel. So when you're putting into a TV screen, not everyone can feel what a 10-meter putt feels like. I can because I have the experience hitting more than millions of putts. So I know people when they come to indoor sims, they just want to see the ball fly, right? So chipping is still there. You're still going to chip, but once you get on the green, everything will be decided. It'll be equal.
Yeah, and the putting can slow down the
and
flow.
It slows down. And so, I don't want people to be like grinding over a 5-footer because they can't get the speed right.
Right, I get that. Or even you get in 2 feet,
and then
and you make that 9 times.
Exactly. And usually when I practice in the sim, so I would play maybe 5 times a week in the sim, like new courses around the world, and I would play in like 30 minutes, 20 minutes, just breeze through it, keep score.
I think another advantage, like a lot of the people here, they're in transit. Like even if they live here, but they got a house in Spain, or they're going back to Scotland for the summer, and maybe they are going, let's say, to Scotland, and they're going to play St. Andrews. They could get a couple warm-up rounds before flying
absolutely.
out.
I had one Australian guy earlier this year who we became quite close with, and he would come religiously 5 days a week there, every day at 4 o'clock. He would have three lessons a week with me. And we would just hit balls in the sim every day. We'd grind it out. And now he's back in Italy now, and he's telling me how he's playing great golf. And this is what I like to see, because although it's a virtual environment, the machine is it's $25,000 unit, right? And I've got 3 of them, so the machine is not going to lie. This is as perfect, as precise as it gets.
Is it the simulator and the mix of the TrackMan that's doing it, or is it the simulator?
It's the machine is on its own, but then the software, which you pay another amount per year,
like a license.
It's like a license kind of thing, and so it's all integrated. But they've done it so perfectly where you can look at your swing, you can look at your like actual video analysis, AI analysis. Data, 3D ball flight, everything. And the machine tracks all the parameters of the golf swing and the golf ball, and it just projects it onto the screen in a very realistic environment. So
yeah, and I like we were discussing before the podcast, I think it's a great place to come fix your swing. Yes. Like right now, again, we discussed my irons are a mess.
Yes, exactly.
But instead of me, let's say, going to the Laguna range where I'm still hitting off a mat.
Yes.
I can actually get some data.
Exactly.
Out there and fix my swing, go play around.
Exactly.
But like maybe take 20 mulligans just figuring it out.
Exactly.
And at least kind of have an idea, so when I go back to play the golf course, I'm not a complete mess of what's going on.
You're just building feels, right?
Yeah.
So you're building a feel that you want to take onto the golf course. I think the biggest mistake people make is when they have a lesson, they're like taking in all this information and they're working on positions. And positional golf is so hard to play golf. While if you just think of a motion, a dynamic motion, it's much easier to understand what the club and what the body is doing.
Is there certain restrictions? Like I have to assume it's great for irons, like iron shots, like that's going to give you the right feel. But for me, especially like Laguna, where it's, mounded greens, like I've perfected the Phil Mickelson hinge and hold with a 60. Yeah.
Perfect. I mean,
because if you don't have that shot at Laguna, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
But because of the bounce on the track, like certain shots like that, you're not going to get the right representation.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. I mean, golf, a lot of people think of golf as you just go out there and hit this little white ball. There's so much more like details that as professionals we pay attention to. The angle of the grass, how wet is the ground, the humidity. I mean, these are all factors that influence what the ball is doing, right? So obviously the hinge and hold works really well at Laguna because when it's wet, you want to make sure you make ball contact first, right?
And the mounding of the green, like you have to get it up and
exactly.
sit it.
If
like,
you're
let's
playing,
say hole 10.
Absolutely. And you have to make sure you're hitting something with enough loft that's going to get up there and stop. You play in St. Andrews on a dry day, I mean, you might be able to use a little bit more of the bounce of the club, which is the bottom of the club. You won't have to hinge and hold it so much. But this is just one of those things where through experience, you kind of build this knowledge.
Yeah, I know. Something like I can't check balls, like for the life of me.
Yeah, I mean,
but I can hinge. Yeah. So sometimes, and because of Laguna, where I should be checking, I'm hinge and holding because I know I can stop it on a dime.
Exactly.
But it's not. The problem with that shot is when you thin it.
Yeah,
it's gone.
Yeah, exactly. So we were talking about this before, like one of the parameters that we look at in Golf Hub that I use is called low point, which I was just telling you. So basically, it gives you a number, which is in inches, and then there's an A or a B. And you always want it with irons to be A, which means after the ball. So you always want your low point to be slightly in front of the golf ball. Anytime you have your low point slightly behind the golf ball, with irons only, and I kind of emphasize this, you're going to struggle with your irons. So with the driver is different because you're teeing it up higher, so you can hit up on the ball. Actually, we prefer you to hit up on the ball. So when people say that the driver and irons are the same swing, technically it's not really the same swing because you're teeing a driver this high while your irons are just sitting on the ground. You want a descending blow with the irons. With the driver, you want to hit up on the ball to maximize distance and spin.
Yeah, the irons you're attacking down into the ball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you can hit fairway finders with a driver that are going to come out low, where you're hitting down on it. But if you want to maximize distance, because everyone I meet, I mean, I would say 99% of the people I meet, they always tell me how far they hit it, and it's always much more than what the simulator is saying. And based on club speed and ball speed, I can already have an idea of what the potential is, because this is like the physics side of golf, right?
Yeah, but it's more we're coming in to fix swing path. Maybe if we're going inside
absolutely.
out, outside
inside
in,
out, inside in,
trying to figure out where are you hitting behind the ball, in front of the ball? Are you thinning it? Are you hitting off the toe?
It's not about finding the perfect number. It's about building the feel that's going to give you that range of numbers, right? Because we're not trying to hit a straight shot. The straight shot doesn't really exist in golf, like consistently, right? But if you play for a shot shape and understand the club path and what the face is doing, you will play much better golf because you're going to eliminate one side of the fairway, right? You're still going to hit some shitty shots. Unfortunately, and I'm sorry for all the viewers, like you're always going to hit some shitty shots. I still hit shitty shots. So it's just kind of being consistent with a swing that can produce the results more often than not.
Yeah, I mean, I've probably taken down half the trees at Laguna.
Yeah, and you're gonna take a lot more.
Yeah, I've went through golf phases of I love golf to fucking break every club.
I do too.
I don't care about golf anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm at that phase of like nothing bothers me.
And just when you don't care about it, that's when you play your best golf.
Yeah, now
and then you start caring again, and then play shitty. So it's
well, it's more when you don't know what's going on. So I'll definitely come in. I'll bring some iron-ins, and we'll have a hit.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just my lessons are very like I'm very cutthroat. So I throw out all the information right away. I'm not one of these people that's going to be like, okay, let's just put a Band-Aid on your swing. And like, if you're paying for like my time, if you come to see me, I want you to understand how to fix yourself when you're out there alone, because the biggest mistake you can make on the golf course is to make the same mistake again and again and again. Right. So it's just being consistent with a swing thought that's going to work for you. And the days it doesn't work, it doesn't mean you change your swing thought. It just means you got to emphasize on it more.
Yeah, and it's I think one of the issues sometimes if you're working with coaches is they're trying to rebuild the swing. At my age, maybe if they're a kid.
No, exactly.
But at this age, it's like, okay, well, let's work. I mean, look at guys like Jim Furyk. Like, you know, you're not rebuilding his swing, but it all comes together at the end.
Exactly. I mean, like Jim Furyk will not change his swing.
No.
I mean, he's won so many tournaments. But there are principles in his swing that he does exactly the same as other greats. Right, so how it looks up here, and I can give you a list of 10 golfers where their backswings are all different, but at impact they are all exactly the same.
Yes, it's how it comes down.
It's all about impact, right? So I don't really care if you got some of this going or some of that going, as long as the path and the face numbers are kind of in that parameter. So that parameter that I give, then it's something for you to work on all the time. When you come into Golf Hub and use the machines.
Yeah, I'm a Bubba Watson power fader.
Yeah, and that's perfect. I'm a fader of the golf ball too. Yeah. But I mean, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, I was a drawer. So like I would change. Like I just woke up one morning and I'm like, I want to hit it left to right now.
Yeah, and you can.
It's weird. Golfers are weird. We're all.
I can't go
psychopaths.
I can only go right. I'm a lefty if I pull it, but right now it's pretty much power fade, which is good because people at Laguna, the caddies, look at me like I'm a lunatic. Like on hole is that 6? We're going down the long par 4.
Par 4. Yeah.
I'll aim it out at the trees on the right and just power fade it back on top.
Yeah.
And they're just like, where are you going?
Works.
I'm like, just watch.
Whatever works. Honestly, it doesn't have to be beautiful, right? Yeah. I mean, the scorecard is just a bunch of numbers, and I always say to people, it doesn't, like, there's no pictures on the scorecard. You could have 6 chip-ins and shoot the round of your life. You still shot that round, right? And most of the time, people do not care about your round.
No.
It's one thing I've learned. Nobody gives a shit. I mean, we have a golf shirt in Golf Hub that says no one cares what you shoot, and it's so true.
Yeah, they're all focused on their own game out there. They're all, trust me, they're just as pissed off as you.
Some of my best rounds in my life were not necessarily the days I hit it the best, which is weird.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about golf in the game for. We probably lost like half the viewers there. Don't worry, I might chop it and put that part at the end and move this around. Let's see what happens. I think for the old timers there. Let's talk about Laguna Golf Course and how it's changed. I came here after the course was changed. Can you walk us through No, I didn't.
Did you see the Laguna With the Island Green?
No.
Okay.
So I started around 17 here.
So I've seen 3 renovations on the course.
Okay.
So
what was the original?
The original was a little bit longer. It was a much bigger space because they got rid of one of the holes, which is a par 3, which at the time was the 16th hole. So the current 8th hole at Laguna and the 7th and 8th hole at Laguna was actually one hole.
Long par 5.
It was a 615-yard par 5.
Oh, shit.
You would tee off out near Sky Park.
Yeah.
And the green would be the 8th green. So
you were laying up twice.
Yeah. Like even for me, if I didn't hit a good drive, I would have to lay up at 180 yards.
Before the water.
Yeah.
And then you're laying up again to get... Yeah, that's stupid.
That was such a long hole. And so where Sky Park is now, there used to be a par 3 that was 150 yards.
I played that. No, maybe I didn't play it, but the grass was there.
Yes.
Right. I remember. And that was after...
That was the original 16th hole.
Oh, because they flipped the course.
Yeah, they flipped it. So
the back 9 was the front
Was
9.
the front, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And and then the Island Green, actually the 18th hole Island Green was a really cool touch. It's a shame they got rid of that. It was such a nice...
The current 18th?
Current 18th wasn't Island Green, completely Island Green.
On the original course?
Yeah.
Why did they get rid of that?
I don't know, to be honest. I think maybe it was maintenance or...
I heard you're getting a lot of the Japanese and the Koreans.
Really?
And they were all coming in to this Island Green as tourists.
Really?
And everyone's watching and they don't want to lose face, so they're getting pissed off. And
really?
They were complaining. Wow. But again, this is Laguna. You know how stories can turn into...
Yeah, I mean, Phuket in general. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's a pretty big change for just a group of people. I mean, that was the best hole because that was a 460-yard par 4. You know, Island Green, especially when it gets windy in the monsoon season. I mean, that 18th hole can be quite long.
Where did the water begin? Kind of at the dip outside, way after the bunker.
Yeah.
It's like a weird fairway bunker there.
Yeah. So it was the Island Green, and the water came all the way. You know where the first tee box is? There's a big lake. Yeah. On the right side. So I guess they funneled it from there into the Island Green.
Yeah.
And then it also came down a little bit towards the 18th green as well. So it was like the 18th green, you couldn't hit it long. It would go in the water.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of room at the back.
Yeah.
Right?
So you know where that current putting green is now.
Or you mean both hole 18 and 9
had a little bit of water, yeah.
Yeah, because there's so much room back there. And
exactly.
I wonder, I'm like, why is there so much grass back here?
It's like, I mean, they could have a event tent there.
Right.
But yeah, no, that used to be all water. And
okay.
It was a good finish. The only thing that was weird about that design was that they had a rock wall, but they put it on the wrong side. So when you're sitting at the clubhouse, you could just see this rock wall. But if they put the rock wall on the other side of the green, you could kind of see the guys finishing out.
Okay. That's strange.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how true that story you were telling me about the Koreans and Japanese. I mean,
let's see.
But who knows? You never know.
That's the story going around the clubhouse.
Yeah, I don't know because I mean they had a rock wall there which kind of blocked everyone's view anyway. But that was a nice layout.
What was hole 10? Current hole 10 was hole 1. Was it always that layout? I can't.
No.
Weird.
So that hole used to be a proper 305 yards, and actually I preferred it better before. Now it's a bit of a rinky-dink par 4.
And it's not an easy par 4 because...
No, I mean, what Laguna did was they shortened the course, right? And because they shortened the course, they tried to trick it up a little bit with the greens.
Yeah.
So they had to do that because if not, guys would shoot like 38 under.
Easy.
You know? So, and to be fair, they did a great job to make it tough. So it just shows you also there's a debate going on tour like, don't make the courses too long. Like this is a good example. It's a short course, but they could trick it up quite a lot. So that 10th hole, which used to be the first hole, was more of a dog leg to the right, par 4, 300 yards.
Where was the green?
So where the villas are on the left side.
Oh, one second. I think I lost his audio. Or did the power go out? One sec. Audio testing. Go back.
Hello.
Okay, it's okay. Sorry, continue.
So
we're talking current hole 10.
Current hole 10, which used to be hole number 1. It used to be a dog leg to the right. And so it'd go towards the villas on the left. Those villas didn't exist back then.
Right.
On the left side.
Yeah.
So it would go more towards like that kiosk where the drinks hut is.
Okay.
And then it'll turn around to the right. So you could either...
the tee off is at the same position?
Pretty much.
So you're going out in dogleg to the white tees tee off for hole.
So that green on the 10th hole was more closer towards the tee boxes on the left.
But the water is still there and the path is there, so you really can't go that far.
Yeah,
right?
so it was more curved to the left. So the dogleg was more at the villas.
Oh, dogleg left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, exactly.
You said right. That's how you got me confused.
So it was everything was shifted more to the left side.
And then you would have been kind of coming uphill into the shot, or did they?
No. It was the first part of the tee off was slightly uphill, and then it would go downhill after.
Interesting.
But you had to cut the corner. You had to cut the corner if you wanted to go for the greens.
Yeah, the course now I'm hitting about 280, sometimes 3.
That's good.
About 280. And
very nice distance.
I'll put it in front of the green. Like I'll carry the water on hole 3. In front of the green. I'll still get a bogey.
Yeah, I mean, three's
so tight.
Three's a good hole.
It's a tricky hole.
It's a good hole because it's 285, 280 to carry the water from the back tees. And it's one of those distances where if I mishit my drive, I'm flirting with the water. Now, if I'm hitting it well, it's easy. I'm back at the green every time.
But you're talking black.
Black tees,
I'm playing blue.
And then if it's into the wind,
no.
it's a different story. So that's a good drivable par 4. I think they did a great job there. And if you lay up to the left, that green is so narrow that you got to be so precise with your wedges.
Yeah, no, it's I played with some pros that were on. There's always pros coming that are on tours, and even a lot of them say it's. And again, if you're not playing 5 under as like a pro or semi-pro, you got no chance. And some of them I'm out there with, and they're like, it's so technical. Like they're like, if I don't hit this green, I'm struggling to get par.
Exactly. And I always say to people, for me to get people to shoot in the 90s is easy. It's just play bogey golf. Bogey is your friend, like really. To shoot in the 80s, also play bogey golf. Stay away from the big numbers. To shoot in the 70s, you need to have a good short game. And then if you want to shoot in the 60s, like in the pro level, you better know how to shoot 63 at least one of the rounds.
Well, and then it's now putting's
a different game.
Putting's the game.
Different ball game. Yeah.
I mean, with the pros, like they can hit those 12 footers.
Oh yeah, and they can all hit it 300.
No, I mean on the putting side.
Oh, on the putting side, yeah.
That's the difference. Like,
and so that's why the margin, I mean, if you look at the best player in the world and someone who's like number 100 in the world, I mean, the difference in the scoring is like
it's the
shot.
Yeah.
Like that's the margin.
Like I'm not hitting I'll be birdie putting all day, but I'm not hitting the 12 footers. It's very rare.
No.
If I'm 5 or 6, okay, but once you get out of that, it's like I'm trying to just keep it as close as I can.
Yeah, and the good rule of thumb is just don't 3-putt. I mean, you cannot control if you're going to make 12 footers, but what you can control is if you go out there and hit it to 20 meters from the hole. If you don't 3-putt, if you went the whole year without 3-putting, you're going to have so many good scores. Which
is hard at Laguna. Like if you're playing
speed, right?
If you're playing hole 16 and the pin's at the back and you land at the front, that's a 3-putt.
16's a tough hole, yeah.
Before we wrap this up, because again, I'm going to go golf after this. After the next podcast, I said I wasn't going to golf today and drink beer, but that is all out the window. I'm all fired up.
It's a good day for it now, too.
Going to shank a bunch of balls. But before that, I was talking to some people at the clubhouse. The PGA, they're going to change the balls to reduce the distance, I heard. Yeah. The compression.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you elaborate more on that?
Well, basically, they're just trying to... guys are hitting it too far, which I don't actually agree with this rule. I think that the whole point of being a professional is to maximize what you can create, right? And I think we were talking about like Laguna. Laguna's a short course, and they can make it tough just by pin positions and things like this. So what the PJ's decided is they're going to roll back the ball. So basically, instead of having 100 compression, it's going to be at like 80. So instead of hitting it 330, you might only hit it 295.
When did the compression technology begin to change? Like, what was it say in the 90s?
To be honest with you, I don't know when they're implementing this. I think it's in 2 years' time. I don't know too much about it because I've been so far out of the loop with the pro stuff. But there's always been an ongoing debate about everyone's hitting it too far. But
I think the debate is more the courses weren't meant to be played that way. So you got Bryson Chambeau cutting dog legs.
Yeah, but I mean, for the entertainment purpose, I think it's needed. You know, when you see a guy like Bryson doing the changes he does with his body to try and maximize distance and, you know, think outside the box. I mean, this is entertainment, and all sports is just about entertainment. Whether it's Live Golf, PGA Tour, Asian Tour, Formula One, it's all about the entertainment aspect. And I think guys like Bryson are giving people an option like, oh, look at this guy. He just put on 40 pounds of muscle. Now he lost it. He hits the ball, 400 yards. People want to see that. They don't want to see some guy who's just boring and who doesn't sell like pay-per-views. They don't want that. They want entertainment. So yeah, I think it's the rollback is not really something that's going to be good in that sense.
Yeah, I guess you could compare it to, do you want to watch a Muay Thai fight that's technical, or do you want to watch two guys smash each other?
Well, exactly.
And that's what he's doing. He's trying to smash the dog leg, right?
Exactly.
I mean, he could easily just screw it up.
Oh, absolutely.
But you, as a fan, you want to see, let's go for that.
I mean, Bryson still misses the odd cut, He doesn't win every week, just like, Tiger, he was so dominant back in 2000. I mean, people wanted to see that dominance, right? You imagine if they, okay, Tiger, we're going to roll back the ball. You can only hit it 190 yards now. I mean, people don't want to see that. People want to see people go over trees and hit it 400. I want to see a 200 mile an hour ball speed, not 147 mile an hour.
Yeah, and you want to be, especially you don't want to see them hitting like you would on the course, because we're going to still be using those balls.
Yeah, you're going to use the normal balls. They're going to use this kind of compression balls. Yeah. You want something to compare to. Right now, you can buy a Pro V1X left dash that Bryson DeChambeau uses in the shop. And you can hit the same ball as he does, and you can compare your numbers to his.
Yeah, not even close.
That's ideal.
I mean, those guys are hitting wedges like 180.
But, I mean, it's their job, right?
Yeah, I know, of course. And yeah, it's all the technique. Before we wrap it up, we're hitting about an hour. I know the number one question everyone's going to ask, like, about the Golf Hub is people just want to know prices. Again, we're not promoting this. I've found my love for golf again now. It will, by the time this is out, I'll probably fucking hate golf. This can happen. Yes. But for now, if you can, I'm going to pass to the bigger camera to you. And I know people are just going to, can you walk them through? Is it open to discuss like pricing and memberships just so they can understand? This way I don't get a bunch of messages and I can just send them this clip.
Sure.
So right before we wrap up this podcast, I'm going to shoot this big camera and you can just look directly into it to Lindsay. Right. First, let them know in terms of the Instagram, the website, location where they can find you, and a little bit about pricing.
Yep, definitely. So Golf Hub, we're open 7 days a week from 9 o'clock in the morning till 9 in the evening. We're offering membership packages now. We have 3 categories. One is about 3,000 baht a month, which gets you 5 hours a month of practice. The other one, I think, is 4,800 a month. And then our unlimited package, which is for the golf-savvy, golf-addicted golfers, is 10,000 a month. We also offer credit packages, so you can just buy the hours. Or you can just walk in. Our walk-in rate is 1,500 baht per hour. So we welcome all skill levels, whether you're an avid golfer, first-timer, or you just want to have a lesson, or even just want to play a golf course from elsewhere in the world. We offer more than 300 different courses. So we're open to everyone, and hope to see you there.
And does that, we can bring our own clubs? You also have lefties on hand?
We have left-handed rentals, right-handed rentals. I'm also going to bring in club fitting. I'm going to be doing club fitting, club making. I have a new brand called Extracurricular coming in, which is from my good buddy Dustin Johnson. So that's going to be coming in as well. We're excited. We're excited of this new venture and this new project. Hope to see everyone there.
Yeah, I think for club fitting, because I'd always have to go to the guy down by Central. He's a great guy.
Great guy, yeah.
Right on the road.
Fitting is important.
Yeah, and there's nothing up here. And now with the traffic.
Exactly.
I don't, next high season, after I throw my 6-iron at a tree.
Yeah, you can get it fixed in that same day. You can get it fixed.
And yeah, maybe I'll come in. I want to take a look at my driver. I don't know if you can. I'll show you. I got a TaylorMade. I think it's a TaylorMade 5. I'm not sure. But the loft is 10.5.
Yep.
How do I get it down to a 9.5? Do I have to change the head? I mean, I have the key.
If you have the key, you can change the loft automatically there.
I put it to the lowest. Would that change it to a 9.5?
It'll change it to probably a 9.5, but it might make the face more open.
Yeah, I hit.
So it depends what you like. Do you hit a slice?
A power fade.
Power fade
can be a slice.
Yeah, the famous power fade.
Yeah.
Then you're probably gonna hit more of a power fade.
If
you lower the loft, if you add more loft, you'll hit it straighter. Because the way the loft works is like, this is neutral.
Yeah.
If you're taking off loft, what it does is it opens the face that way.
Really?
If you're adding loft, it closes the face.
Okay, so I put it on the lowest. That means
That means you open the face.
And so it is.
That's how it takes off.
So I should close it completely.
I would play around with it, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you need to go on TrackMan to
I
see
hit
the spin
so
rate,
high.
right?
My problem is I have I hit it quite high.
Yeah, so I mean, hitting it high is good as long as the spin rate is low. I can go.
I get
this
it.
is a whole new rabbit hole.
I hit my buddy's club and the head says 9.5.
Yeah.
And I was hitting it 30 yards further just because of that.
Yeah,
it didn't go as high. It was going straight.
And it could be the shaft too, maybe.
And the shaft was a bit longer too.
Yeah, so longer will go farther. A bit more.
But it was probably like that much more.
Yeah, I mean, so standard shaft would be 45, 44 inches. If he has a 46 or 47 inch shaft, it's going to be a little bit more farther.
Maybe I should go check.
Bigger range of motion.
Yeah, I was hitting about 300 with this thing.
But yeah, I mean, shaft is important. And if you're hitting at 300, most likely the spin rate was ideal, optimal.
Okay, we'll check that out. I could talk this all day. That ends another episode of Fruiting Body Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave all your comments, and thanks for watching. We're out.